everyone. Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Urban Wine Club podcast. I am Ari, and I am very excited about our guest today. Before we get to this fantastic guest, let me introduce my co-host, Foti Stamos. Hello, Foti.
How are you, Ari?
I'm very good. Foti, I know you're excited. I'm excited. We've been kind of chatting about this guest and what she does and who she is and where she's from and all this stuff. And it is a pretty cool story. I'm going to turn it right over to you, Foti, so you could kind of bring us in.
Let me carry on the excitement that you bring on because at the Urban Wine Club podcast, what's exciting is the discovery. We're constantly discovering the new approaches, the new generation of winemakers, individuals that carry legacies from generation to generation. And for that, today we're very honored to have our special guest, who is actually connecting to us all the way from Argentina, which, this is a first for us on the Urban Wine Club podcast. This individual, inspirational, very dedicated. I think that when you listen to this episode, you're going to say, wow, we need to learn more about what they're doing. We've always been advocates of the cleaner practices. We've been advocates of people that actually care. That's an important thing that most productions today, you would think that a pretty label or fancy looking bottle is the way to go, but it goes beyond that. So before we get into the details, let's bring in our guest. Welcome to the podcast, Julia Zuccardi from the Bodega Santa Julia. Thank you so much for joining us all the way from Argentina. Welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for inviting me. I am very happy to be here. It's an honor for me to be invited to this podcast. So thank you.
No, our pleasure. We actually got to discover you through, I should mention this, through our friends over at Ruby Wines in Massachusetts, who are representing your wines, bringing them to market. We had this very special opportunity to actually try your wines, hear the story from the people that represent you in Massachusetts. And we said, we need to learn more about this from the source. So thank you for taking the time because we want our audience to get just as excited as we are, so to tell the story on this episode. So thank you so much for doing that.
Excellent.
You come from a line of generations of individuals, your grandfather, your father, who are important players in, I think, in the production of wine coming from the area of Argentina, Mendoza. Can we talk a little bit about first your family's legacy a little bit? And
Yes, sure.
then we can go into what you're doing today.
Of course. It's very important to know where we come from to understand what we do today, because
Absolutely.
my grandparents, I am third generation. We are a family-owned company, and today is still managed by the family. But it was my grandfather, the one who started in 1960, at the end of 1960. He actually came from the north of Argentina, and he wasn't related to wine at all. He didn't have anything to do with wine. He had no knowledge at all. He actually was a civil engineer, and he
Wow.
was developing an irrigation system. So he came to Mendoza, where Mendoza, for the ones who don't know, we are in the middle west of Argentina, next to the border with Chile. And we are a desert. Water is a really scarce resource. We really need to make sure to take care of water. So he developed this system, which was mainly for irrigate vines. So he bought a very small piece of land where today we have our Santa Julia winery to showcase this system. So he started to relate with vine growers, and that's how, in a way, by a chance, he became a little passionate about viticulture and then wine producing. He met my grandmother. She was Mendocinian, and together, 1969 approximately, they started the winery. And I say the history is very important because I had the chance, I was lucky, me and my brothers, to work with my grandparents. They got to live long. So we worked together, and what I definitely learned about them is the importance of taking care of nature and people. That is something that is today part of the philosophy of the company, but it's not something we created now as a third generation. It's something that comes from the foundation of the company. My grandfather was a person very, very much related with nature. I always remember him walking through the vineyards. What he really most enjoyed about the activity was being in the nature. And he always told me since I was a child that we needed to take care of nature because, as you know, making wine depends 100% of nature. You know, you can lose a whole production of grapes in a night with a frost or with rain or how do you say rain
Or snow or some,
stones hey,
yeah,
hey sorry.
any
So he
unforeseen.
was always like really taking care of that, really focus on taking care of nature. And then my grandmother is very interesting because she was a very people-oriented person, and she I always say that she made social responsibility when nobody talk about that, when nobody really call it social responsibility. We are talking about 1970s. She started realizing that in order to make a good wine, you need good people. Some of our vineyards were and are today like in the middle of nowhere. We have big vineyards where a lot of people live inside the vineyards, and they are really in the countryside. So what she noticed is that people had little access to education, healthcare. So she, from the beginning, she decided she wanted to improve people quality of life. So again, we are what we are today because the founders had a very clear philosophy of sustainability. All these
Wow.
terms were not really present in the past, but I think they did it just because they believed in that.
And good.
We need more people like that now more than ever, I think. That's what it sounds like to me.
Exactly,
It's
yeah.
amazing how progressive and intelligent they were about what they were doing and all the factors around it, the people, the nature, the everything. That's amazing.
Yeah, we always say that wine is people and land. And you cannot make a good wine without good people and without taking care of nature. That's really important. So then, going back to the history, my father, who's today very actively working with us, he joined the company at the end of the 80s, middle 80s. And my grandparents at that moment were just doing a lot of big quantities of wine, but not really quality oriented. They were just learning how to make wine. And we're talking about a company that was very small. What we are today is the result of what they did, but it was sometimes you think, you know, like a winery is big from one day to another. In our story, it's been part of a big effort from the different generations to be what we are today. So at that moment, when my dad joined the company, he had something clear. He wanted to go for quality. He realized that at the end of the 80s, Argentina was starting to be recognized in the world, especially for Malbec. So he wanted to go abroad to sell our wines around the world. So first he said, okay, we need to go through the quality path, and we needed a brand. We didn't have a strong brand. We used to do bulk wine. So that's how Santa Julia is born. I was around 10 years old, and my father wanted to call the wine Julia. And then he
Smart.
couldn't because it was already registered. That's why it's Santa Julia.
Ah,
Yeah,
well,
I was a saint by then, so
well, every daughter in the father's eyes is a saint.
of course, always. And that's how in the 90s Santa Julia is born, and we start to sell around the world our wines. And my grandparents were still very active, so my dad was very focused on quality. My grandparents were very focused on sustainability. And it's like the perfect combination, good quality wines, talking about all this sustainability world, which started very small. And for you to have an idea, today we are the biggest organic farm in Argentina for vines growing. And that's very important for us because it's what my grandfather dreamt. Today it's real, and we're still working on having more and more hectares of vineyards organic certified.
Right. That's fascinating, Julio, because the fact that you just mentioned the biggest, and when you think about the amount of work that goes into something that's sustainable, because today with technology, machines, and synthetic practices, you can bypass all that to make a processed product. But the fact that you use the word sustainability because I think that's more important than anything today, where sustainability is the combination of all these natural practices. So to farm
Yes,
organically, sorry, is a big endeavor because you're depending on nature. And you mentioned something early
exactly.
on. If nature decides that they're not having a good day, nature can work against us. And the dedication, the time, and the effort is, I think, merciless in the fact that you're driven every day to just stick to that process. That speaks loud.
Yeah, and I think something important to mention is that we are a family-owned company. We live the company as a big family. We have more than 1,000 employees, and we've always felt all our employees and their families were our own family. So when the company is led by a family, all the decisions are taken for the next generations.
Hmm.
It's not that you take a decision because tomorrow you want to be more, you want to earn more money. Every decision you take is for the future, it's long-term decision. And that's magic because you're not thinking about tomorrow, about all the numbers, which are also important, of course, because it's a company and you need uh, to make it profitable, but it's not the real end. What we do is it's our life, it's our passion, it's the history of our family. So every day we go to work thinking about this, not about the other part
Of
that
course, of course.
probably like companies where families are not involved lose this soul.
Mm.
So I think that's very important, and I'm very proud of that. And
If I
and for
can
a long time, yes, tell
If
me.
I can personally mention that you talk about soul, I see that myself personally, if I can speak personally about your soul through the wines. I had the opportunity to try a collection of your wines, and despite where some people have reservations about how wine is, if it's made in a very low intervention, natural way, will it taste right? Will it feel right? But your selections are so seamless that they connect with you right from the aromas to the textures to the flavors. So whatever you're doing is magical. So I just wanted to point that out, that the soul is definitely there because in the world that we live in today, and this is very important because there's a movement now, or a moment in the U.S. when it comes to wine consumers and what they're looking for, and I think we're starting to understand that we need to be a little more smarter about our decisions, and the fact that
Hmm.
that you're coming into the picture through our lens, because trying to source wines that come from these practices, it's a little overwhelming for the consumer, but the fact that we have the ability to speak to you on this level, and our audience who is listening can really understand that, there are practices out there that are making great wine without it being processed.
Well, thank you. Actually, I always say that some years ago we were shy to share everything we do about sustainability because we didn't want people to believe that or to think that we do this for marketing. We do it because we believe in it. We feel it's our responsibility. And then, of course, if consumers value that and take that into consideration, now we have learned that it's good to share the story because, as you say, today people really want to make good decisions when they choose what to consume. And what we do is real. If you visit our wineries, for example, in two of the vineyards, we have what we call cultural centers, and that is what my grandmother created. And you will find we have a secondary school for adults, we have sewing workshops, we have daycare for children. So it's true, it's real. You can go there, you can visit the places, and you can see it's something we really do. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of investment to keep up with that, but we are really convinced it's important. Actually, a lot of people who work with us have been with us since my grandparents. We have winemakers that actually Santa Julia winemaker, he's been with us for 35 years. So that's something we feel proud, you know, if people
It-
want to stay with us, if they want to make their lives in our company, we really encourage that.
Thanks. Julia, most people who are probably listening to this episode right now, when they think of Argentina and they think of wine, most likely they think of, you mentioned Malbec, but Argentina is more than just Malbec. And I got to discover that because of the line of wines that you produce. Can we speak a little bit about all the varieties that you plant and you work with to showcase that, Argentina goes beyond Malbec?
Yes, exactly. We are very thankful to Malbec because it was the way Argentina was known. You know, it was our flag for a long time, and it still is. But we've been working very hard in the last years to show that Argentina is much more than Malbec. Actually, we have a very wide range of varietals. Um, Today, Cabernet Franc is very popular in Argentina. We do Cabernet Sauvignon. We do Tempranillo, which was a grape that was very bad considered, and today it's something we are very proud. A wine we are very proud of. We do Pinot Noir. We do Syrah. We do a lot of white Torrontés, which is a native one from Argentina. We do Chardonnay. We really do a lot of varietals, and we actually have a very nice project called. We have inside the winery. We have research and development winery, small winery in Santa Julia, where we try different varietals. This project is called Innovation. So what we do is we want mainly to show people that there's a lot more than Malbec. And it's also fun for us to see how probably other varietals from other parts of the world, how they work in our landscape. Sometimes is successful. Others we realize that it's not the best place to grow these vines. But yeah, I think Argentina is a lot of diversity, and it's mainly place, not varietal. That's what we're trying to show, because Argentina is a big country, as the US. You know, it's a big country with lots of climates, terroir. If you go to the north of Argentina, wines are very different from the ones from Mendoza or from the ones to the south. So what we want to show mainly now is identity, what Mendoza is about, what wines from either the south of Mendoza, the north of Mendoza, how they change, how they are different from each other. So it's a long way, but we are very excited to show the real identity of Mendoza.
And this is fascinating because it seems like there's so much going on at the properties in the winery. Can we speak a little bit about the nursery that you have at the wineries?
Yeah, well, that again was my grandmother's idea, and today I run all the hospitality in the family. I didn't mention that I'm in charge of all the tourism. We have 3 restaurants and we have a visitor center. But then also I run all the social responsibility area, which was my grandmother's area, and I had the chance to work with her for some years. So she was my mentor in a way. And we have daycare. My grandmother was always, she worked all her life. I mean, we are thinking about a person who will be now nearly 100 years. So it wasn't really common for a woman in that age, in the 60s, 70s, to work and to be a mother at the same time. So for her, something very important was to help women to improve, again, their quality of life. So she wanted to create this daycare so women could balance motherhood and professional life. And it was amazing because I always say today we are very happy and proud because we have 90 children assisting to both our daycare nurseries from 2 months to 12 years old. They can stay from 9 to 6, or the ones who go to school, they go to school and they come in the afternoon. It depends on their age. But something really important is that we are able to keep very talented women that probably before they had to choose between motherhood and professional life. And today they don't have to do it because they have nursery just 2 minutes from their desk, from their office, and they can keep on seeing their babies, breastfeeding. So it's like everything we do about social responsibility at the end, it's a win-win because people, our employees win, but at the same time, it's good for us. If we have people that are motivated, if women can balance this, it's amazing.
Amazing is the word. Amazing. I think more companies should learn, operations should learn from what you're saying. But overall, this whole essence of what you do is fascinating to us because we only hear or read this much, for those that are watching the episode. And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. The operation sounds immense. And having said that, I saw some statistics, some numbers about how you contribute back to the environment, to nature, the recycling of what you do on the property. The numbers I saw were fascinating. Can we just speak quickly about, when it comes to like, the glass or the waste, or this is also important
Yes,
because
we actually recycle a lot. We produce our own compost, more than 1,000 tons every year. All this compost goes back to the vineyards. So we produce our own fertilizer. Uh, so that's amazing. We have like a huge part in the property dedicated to compost. That's something very big. Then we recycle water. We have water plants where water goes back and is cleared and then goes back to the winery. So and goes back for irrigation. Yeah, so it's water, energy also, of course. We try to consume the less amount of energy. We have solar panels in some of our vineyards. Yeah, we try in everything, in all the process, from the vineyard to the bottle. We try to find which is the most sustainable way to do it, you know? So we choose lighter bottles. We do canned wine. A lot of people don't know that canned wine is more sustainable than
glass.
glass bottle. So yeah, what we try to do is like study in the whole process how can we impact less on the environment or impact negatively.
So this is like
So
full circle. This is like 360 sustainability, like from beginning
yes,
and keep going, which is
yes,
fascinating.
Well, Foti, she said that they went from a small little, company to something that's much larger now, and that's a testament to you as a company doing things right and doing things well and caring about all aspects and not just the bottom line, the profit margins. You care about everything, and the fact that you can grow so much, that's a testament that you are doing the right thing. You are doing good things, and
And
that's amazing to hear.
Ari,
Well, thank you.
if I can to add to what you're saying, the testament that you just mentioned just made me create a theory. If I can mention this theory in this episode, if we're going to actually drink wines from Santa Julia and the Zuccardi family, Julia, you mentioned that your grandparents lived a very long life. Is it safe to say that if we choose to consume wines from Santa Julia, we could actually also live quite long as well?
Of course, of course. You need to.
Yeah.
Wines from Santa Julia, and something very nice I want to share with you is that like 5 years, 6 years ago, we started doing natural wines, which probably you have seen in the market. So we already had a line of organic wines, but we wanted to go further into this sustainability world. And my brother Sebastian, who is the winemaker, wanted to do natural wines. There's a big trend in the world for natural wines. A lot of people don't know what natural wines is, or confuse organic and natural wines. So natural wines are wines that have no additive during the process. In this case, it's usually sulfites. So we're very proud because we started a project 5 years ago. The first wine was El Burro. Probably you have seen it. There's a label of a donkey. Very nice. It's painted like a kid. And then when we started, we didn't know what was going to happen. We just wanted to try. We knew we wanted to do good quality natural wines because, again, there's a lot of confusion about natural wines. A lot of people believe that making a natural wine is probably like a garage wine, like anybody can do it in a very probably artisan way. And actually doing a good natural wine takes harder and takes a lot of precision in the process. You need very, very healthy grapes, and then you need a very clean and neat winery. So everything needs to be, and it's even more expensive if you think of it. So we really wanted to go for that place, but we didn't know what was going to happen, and it was very successful. Actually, we started with El Burro in 2019, and today we have 7 wines in the natural wines line, which are different animals. We have El Burro, we have La Oveja, which is a sheep. We have La Vaquita, which is a cow. We have La Mantis and El Cabrito, which is the goat. And we have Chimango, which is and all of them are different varietals. We have a Malbec, and Torrontés, a Clarete. We have a Petnat. So this has been very exciting for us because it was something new, probably very connected to the third generation, to bringing new ideas, to doing things in a different way. And today we are actually building a new winery in the same property where the other winery is located, and it's all made with sustainable construction.
Wow.
So we actually last week we started doing our harvest, our new production in that winery, and we are finishing the construction at the same time. So yeah, it's very exciting. We are always
You're making us want to come to Argentina sooner than later. Just
you have to, you need
listening
to
to all
come.
this is
Yes.
amazing.
I mean, Fode, I don't want to spring this on you right now, but Julia, are you guys hiring? I'll be down there like tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm
You
in.
should.
I love it. I love everything I heard today.
This is
Thank you.
fascinating.
Thank you.
I mean, this was a pleasure to actually be able to actually listen to you and the actual doings of your family and their legacy and what you're doing today. Anything that you'd like to leave us off with? Anything else that maybe you might add about what's going on in Santa Julia? I know you mentioned all these great projects and so forth. We're big fans of what you're doing anyways. We're super excited to try more of your wines in the market. And hopefully whenever you do visit the market, we get to see you in person as well. Anything you want to leave us off with?
No, just tell you that when we think of Santa Julia, we think of wines that are everyday wines, wines that you can have every day at home or you can take to a friends. But they are we want wines to be drinkable, to be enjoyable. Um, we want that to be to pair with food. Santa Julia is more about that, fresh, to feel the place, to feel the fruit. Um, so that's always the idea. And again, our philosophy is in the wines, is quality, innovation, and sustainability. And that's what we want people to feel where they are, when they are drinking our wines. And of course, come to Argentina and see everything here because it's real and it's really magical.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. Ari, I mean, I think we're both sold on the fact that we're drinking Santa Julia at a higher level these days.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We want to thank you so much for joining us. We know you're busy. We know you have so much going on, obviously. Thank you so much for taking the time, for telling a little bit of your story, and hope to have you back in the future because hopefully there's lots more
Thank you.
to talk about.
Yeah,
So,
thank you. It's my pleasure to be here, and I hope you come to Argentina and we can make a podcast from Argentina, from
that'll be
Mendoza.
amazing.
Oh, I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But thank you once again,
Thank you.
thank you, Foti. Thank you, everybody out there, for watching and listening. The story's amazing. Check the show notes for links and more information. And once again, thank you guys so much. And we appreciate it. And we'll see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.